Hello, my name is Regation Okoye, and I am presenting a PowerPoint presentation on Egyptian hieroglyphs. Terminology. Hieroglyphic handwriting is a system that employs characters in the form of pictures. Hieroglyphs may be read as pictures, symbols for pictures, or as symbols for sound. Hieroglyphic originated from the Greek word sacred, carving. Beginning stages. Above you can see two pictures of what started the hieroglyphic evolution. To the left is where Egyptians used pictures on pottery as self-expression. On the right are square tags used as labels on containers or cattle. These pieces are dated from 3400 BC to 3200 BC. In a linguistic perspective, the evolution from decorative and possibly numeric function to linguistic function has been argued to be influenced by contact with Sumerian cuneiform, which is the first case of the representation of language in a written form. Diodorus Siculus. Diodorus Siculus is a Greek historian and the author of the Universal History Bibliothèque, which means library in Greek. The time period ranged from the age of mythology that flourished at 1st century BC to 60 BC. He was responsible for the first hieroglyphic writing. Hieratic script. Hieratic script in the earlier times of hieroglyphs was created to write things faster and easier. The handwriting technique is an Egyptian form of cursive that was used to write about everyday details. The characters were originally written vertically and later horizontally, read from right to left. The inscriptions were normally written with a reed pen or a brush on papyrus. Archaeologists study such artifacts to conclude on lifestyles and conditions of the past that prevents current and future generations from making previous mistakes. Demotic script. Demotic script is an Egyptian hieroglyphic writing of cursive form that was used in manual texts from early 7th century BCE until the 5th century CE. Demotic script was acquired from the earlier pictographic hieroglyphic inscriptions and the cursive hieratic script, and it began to substitute hieratic writing during the reign of Ptolemaic I. By the 5th century BCE, Demotic script, which the Egyptians called sikshat, meaning written for documents, had become into use everywhere in Egypt for professional and written purposes. Although hieratic remained in use for religious texts, the Demotic script began to be dislocated by Greek during the Ptolemaic period. But hieratic graffiti left by the priests of Isis and Philae date as late as 452 CE. Decipherment of hieroglyphics. In 1820, the decipherment of hieroglyphics was accredited to French linguist and archaeologist Jean-François Champollion, who is considered the founder of Egyptology. It's widely acknowledged that crucial initial steps were taken by the English intellect Thomas Young. It is documented that Young influenced Champollion, but the evidence is lacking. Champollion's fluctuating publication record from 1810 to 1821 is indicative. He published a short study illustrating 700 Egyptian hieroglyphics and hieratic signs. Rosetta Stone, the notorious stone named after the city it was discovered in, contains identical Rosetta Stone, the notorious stone named after the city it was discovered in, contains identical text in 3 languages, hieroglyphs, Egyptian, and ancient Greek, and was deciphered by the French linguist Jean-François Champollion. Journey to decipherment. This slide is dedicated to sharing an experience and recognizing the process of decoding hieroglyphics. First, I would like to introduce you to some of the rules necessary to write and read hieroglyphic sentences. In a sentence, the verb comes first. Adjectives comes after the word they describe. My or your come after the word they describe. Usually you don't need am, are, or is. There is no the or a. There are no gaps between the words. To the right, you will see the words necessary to decode the sentence. If you would like to press pause now to decipher the statement, press pause now to decipher the statement. Good job. The sentence reads, "The good God, great King, son of Re, Ramses, living forever." Writing and religion. In a cultural anthropologist and archaeological perspective, the influence of religious concepts upon hieroglyphic writing is authenticated in at least two common usages. The first is in the 3rd millennium, where certain signs were aborted or were used in misconstrued form, especially in grave inscriptions, fearing that the living person represented could be harmed in their grave. Second, a positive religious influence were placed in front of other signs. For example, the two signs for servant of God would be placed as God servant. In the late period, Egyptian texts referred to hieroglyphic inscriptions as writing of God's words, so it is not surprised that a number of gods are represented as scribes. Eye of the beholder. Scribes held one of the highest professions in the ancient Egypt and were the wealthier occupants. Their higher status was because of the importance of Egyptian writing and the small amount of literacy. Scribes served as the liaison of the community and higher authorities. The underworld. Above to the left, you can see where a symbol called a menta. This symbol represents the underworld or land of the dead. There are 63 tombs in the valley, 26 carved for king, and others for royal family members. The tombs are decorated with religious pictures and texts known as hieroglyphics. The designs were to assist the king on his journey to the afterlife. Above is an example of a royal tomb belonging to King Tut. Physical anthropologists may find a need to study his remains due to the fact that they have a significant role in biological evolution.